Hey guys, welcome to the Neglected Podcast. This podcast is not to change your mind, but to invite you into somebody else's narrative. This is a podcast to give a voice to the neglected. It is also an opportunity for all of us to engage.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Neglected Podcast. My name is Nick Schultz. You can hit me up at Schultzy Time. You can follow us at For the Neglected on social media. Want to thank Quinn for producing and being here. Quinn, thanks like always, and City Church for hosting. Today we have a very special guest who is now my friend, and his name is Latif Nourozi. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I've been working on that all week, trying to get that name correct, and really appreciate you being here. And you have first of all, you have an amazing wardrobe. So that is traditional clothing from where you come from. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's traditional Hazara,
Hazara, which is in Afghanistan. Afghanistan. So I'm really excited about this, to hear your perspective in life in Afghanistan and coming over here to America and how all that's kind of played out in your life. And so again, thank you for being here. And like always, when we start the podcast, we really do what life was like growing up for you. So you were growing up in Afghanistan as Hazari in a very unique environment, and especially for our American listeners, where the Taliban has a lot of say and a lot to do over there and how it affected your life. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what was life like for you growing up in the culture and the country and the area where you were?
Thank you, Nick. It's glad to be here. It's my first time I'm being on the camera. You may see me a little bit nervous.
You look
going to be okay.
You look great, especially with that on. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, then I have a thick accent. Hopefully it will not disturb your listener. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible that they will understand what I'm saying. Yeah, Nick, my name is Latif Nourozi. As you explained it, I was born in a small village of Ghazni province in central of Afghanistan. We are belong to a Hazara nation, which is one of the 4 major nations in Afghanistan. As you talk about my traditional clothes, we call Hazaragi clothes, which I'm thankful of my wife Tahira. She made it for me.
That. Wow,
yeah,
that's really. She made it over in Afghanistan or here?
In Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah, and I brought it with me. I loved it because she made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when the Hazara, you said there's 4. What do you call them? Are they groups or tribes, or how do they?
We call it nations. Afghanistan is a multinational country, multi-nation. Like we have Hazara, Uzbek, Tajiks, Pashtuns. They are the 4 major nations in Afghanistan.
And for our listeners, help us understand how those are divided. Is it based on beliefs or area or certain ethnicity?
It's based on ethnicity and beliefs too. Hazara is the only nation who they believes in Shia Islam.
Okay.
And Tajik, Uzbek, and Pashtuns, they believes in Sunni Islam. That's how we described over there. But at the end, we are all from the parts of Afghanistan. Yeah. My father was a farmer in our village, and my mom, she was helping my dad. Then I am the youngest child of the family. Then we born over there in Ghazni.
And one of the interesting things you told me is that your father actually speaks Russian or knew how to speak Russian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Your grandfather.
Grandfather, because he was on the parts of Russian war in Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's so
and
fascinating.
he learned Russian.
That's so crazy.
Yep.
That family has Russian, knows English, and you actually know. You told me 5 languages.
Yeah, I speak 5 languages. I speak English, Urdu, which Pakistan speaks.
Okay.
Hindi, which Indian speaks. Hindi and Urdu, they are similar, like British English, American English on speaking, but on the writing, Urdu and Hindi, they are different. Then I speak Farsi and Pashto, which is being spoken in Afghanistan. Farsi is being spoken in different countries, such as Iran, Tajikistan, Afghanistan. They're speaking like in 4 or 5 countries.
Okay. What primary language did you speak growing up?
We growing up speaking Hazaragi. Hazaragi is the parts of Farsi language too, but it sounds different than Farsi. but we call it Hazara.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you grew up, and like you said, your father was a farmer.
Yeah.
And what kind of things was he farming?
Yeah, he owned a small farms like in our village that he was over there working on onions, tomatoes, potatoes, all those vegetables that he loves it to grow them up and sell it. Our village is called Kapjoy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what was life like growing up for you in that village? And specifically, I would love for you to share too, like, the good and the bad, because a lot of your story includes Taliban and kind of persecution and fear and threats and some things that a lot of us don't have to go through when we're growing up.
Yeah, Nick. In Afghanistan, when I was small, like childhood, usually, let me put it this way, in Afghanistan, most of the kids, they don't have a childhood at all. Since they are small. When they are growing up, they are coming as a workforce to work to get survive. But especially for me in our village, we had a normal life like every other people, going to school, coming back home, do the daily activities around, playing football, soccer around. It was our daily normal life. Since Taliban took it over, yes, it was the nightmare. It was the horrible time. It was the night or the day that we never forget it, because we were young and we were so small enough to think about those things, but we were hearing stories from other people, like when Taliban gonna came, they're gonna kill all the people, they're gonna kill kids, they're gonna block your schools, they're gonna put you in prison if you do something wrong, against their beliefs, against their thoughts. Those were the horrible stories before they captured us. We were hearing from other people, from our seniors.
What do you remember your parents telling you about the Taliban? Were they preparing you or warning you, like, hey, you could be at school and something can happen, this is what you do, or like, don't speak to anybody? Like, how do you get trained almost to deal with it when it comes?
Usually nobody had an idea about them, what they're gonna do, because in our village, which I was living, there was no technology like nowadays. We have satellite, we have dishes, like TVs. That time we just had a small FM radios or AM radios that we were listening the news through that. Most of the news was coming through BBC or Voice of America, all those FM station or AM station was podcasting in our country. My parents, they don't have any idea about how they're going to rule the country, how they're going to rule us. But by the time when they came. Their way was different. Their thoughts was different. Their mentality was different. They were never talk like the way I was talking. They never speak Hazara languages over there, which we speak.
What were they speaking?
They're speaking Pashto, which was hard and for us to understand, because our village, our nation, like our all classmates, all of those, they were speaking Hazara. When they took our school, they came in the power. The first thing, they nominated their own principal in our school.
Okay. So when you say they took over, you're talking like, do they take over the whole region of the Hazara people by military force, or?
Yeah. They took over by military force the whole country. The first time they took it over the country by military force, they took our capital, which was Kabul. Then they took every other province, such as Ghazni, Kandahar, Balkh, Paktika, everywhere, Bamiyan. Our majority of our people, like Hazara, they lives in Bamiyan. Then Ghazni is the central of Afghanistan, which we lives in Jaghori province, which they came through. When they took it over first the district of that province. Then they sent their own armies around, their own teachers around, their own guidance around. They sent their own law. It's like somebody gonna came and take your whole thing.
Yeah.
Like take your books and give you new books, the same way they came in our school.
So what about like land or farming? So if they come in and take a school, are they just kicking the teachers and the principal out and saying, hey, you go do something else?
Yeah.
Or they're saying you can stay as long as you believe and do everything we tell you to do?
Yeah, they kick our principal. They put their own principal, but the teacher was the same. But they change our all subjects, the books which we are reading.
Wow.
It's like in a private English school, you bring a new all Spanish books to the English students the same way. They brought us a lots of new books that we were not able to read it because we were not able to read and write like what the book says to us. They make us to put a turban on our head. It looks like the Taliban's schools. They change our uniforms, and instead of having pants, a khaki pants with the t-shirts, they change it to traditional Afghan clothes. It should be long enough and should have a turban on your head every morning when you get to class. And they stopped women from coming to schools. They stopped all the girls.
So the girls couldn't go to school anymore at all.
When Taliban came, they shut down all the classes for the girls.
Wow.
They banned all the girls from getting education. We were just the boys.
So what do? Do they just stay home, or do they try to
they stay home,
read or learn on their own? That's brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal, yeah. They stay home, and they had their own laws. Like the women, if they want to go outside their homes, they have to have a fully hijab.
They got to be covered completely almost.
Completely covered, and nobody can see their face.
Yeah.
When they are going out of their homes with fully covered, with hijab, they have to have a man with them. It means the woman by herself is not allowed to go outside.
Does she have to have her husband, or it can be any
husband, brother, or any from their family members?
Wow.
Like the woman should not go outside by herself because it was against their law. And the man has the authority to be with her. And that's the first thing they did. And the second thing, we were not able to shave. We were not able to shave our face because they asked us that we should have long beards and long mustaches. Like our teachers completely changed before they have shaved, and they were clean shaved every morning. Their uniform was changed, but now everybody of them had a long beard and long mustache, and that was their rulings.
Are they bringing their own version of Islam and religion into the school and teaching as well?
Yeah. They have their own beliefs. They don't believe in the real Islamic things that we grew up with. And our religion, it never says that you should ban women from education. It says that our religion says men and women, they are equal. They are equal. They have to work shoulder by shoulder. But the Islamic religion, which Taliban was explaining for us, it was totally different.
Are they bringing other books or things they've written to just say, these are equal to the Quran?
No, they are translate parts of those books.
So they're interpreting differently.
Yeah, they are interpreting those. The interpreting books of their Quran was different than ours. The Quran is the same way that the same books, holy books that everybody respects, but they interpret it in their own ways. It never says in Quran that women should be getting banned from education. But in their perspective, yes.
Oh, man. So this is a lot to take in, just trying to, while you're speaking, imagine what that would be like to have somebody come in and just change your way of life and everything you believe, how you look, how you should think, what you're allowed to do, especially with for your mom or your sister and all that. At what point is anything becoming, hey, we're doing all this and we're being nice about it right now as long as you do what we tell you to? At what point does violence or threats also come into play of now you're not feeling safe at all?
It was because of our face. Our face, like we're having small eyes, small nose. Our total physical outfit is different from other nation in Afghanistan.
So they're now discriminating against you just because of the way you look.
The way we look and the way we believe, as I said in the beginning, that we believe in Shia Islamic.
Right. So they're trying to remove you from that.
Yeah. They were discriminate areas and start killing the men. And their first basic thought was about our nation, about Hazaras, to remove their identity, to remove their fundamental rights. Because they were not believing that we are a parts of this country. We are the parts of this land. We have to have a resistance over here. They don't believe on that. Their first aim was like to just kill us, shoot us, and get us removed. By the time they took our villages, like they burned the houses. They burned women. They shot women on their heads. And there is a lots of articles about them. If you go to online and any resources, YouTube or any other online resources before 2000, how Taliban ruling in Afghanistan, you're going to see it. They're going to put women on the ground and throw a stool on them for making a small sense.
Wow.
No crimes.
Did you have to witness or see anything up close, or were you protected in any way from having to witness some of that violence?
I witnessed the violence against my father. They tied my father on the tree and beating him so hard and asking him to show his weapon. Even my dad, he didn't have a weapon at all. In some way, they got misinformation that we are owning an AK-47, which we didn't.
Yeah.
And my father went to prison for that. Like for a month, they released him back and they couldn't find anything.
Wow.
I remember when my dad was coming home, he was not able to walk because they beat him to the death.
How old were you when that happened?
I was small. I was 12 or 11. I remember all those.
That's still an age to remember things.
Yeah. I still remember those days. Like I never can forget it.
So what were you thinking or feeling when he was gone? Were you worried he wasn't coming back?
Yeah, it was not only me. I was not the only child.
Yeah.
It wasn't our village. It was everybody's fear. Everybody was afraid. Everybody was scared.
Mm-hmm. And were people leaving it all and like going to other parts of the country or to Pakistan or other places and trying to escape, or are they staying?
Yeah, most of the people who had money, who had opportunities, they escaped. Most of our nations like Hazara, they migrate to different countries. They went to Pakistan, they went to Iran, then they came across the border to Italy or Turkish. They went to European countries.
Mm-hmm. Everybody
just ran away. And as you can see right now, I'm sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm the one of those guys that left my country behind.
You did. But it wasn't easy though.
No, it's not an easy choice.
And what did your father, what do you remember about your father when he came back? Did he say anything or tell you what happened, or did he just stay quiet about it? What was that like?
Oh, he was saying, because I remember there was a lots of stitches on his back and there was lots of soil on his feet that he was not walking with it. And I asked him, my brother asked him then, what happened? How was the prison? He was saying that they were giving them one-time meal 24/7 and beat them to the death and asked them that who was the commander here, who was like before us, how many guns you guys owed. If you are own it, you have to give it to our government, otherwise we're going to hang you up. And nobody knows that, like they're coming back or not.
So they think like you guys are forming some type of army to fight back, and you got nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, it's just we are just normal people. Like as I told you, we had small farms. Like it was not more than that.
Wow. And you mentioned you were 11 and 12, and that's kind of a prime age too when you think about recruitment for Taliban or for other places in the country when they try to recruit young boys to believe a certain system and join something. Was that ever approached by you in the school or in the neighborhood that, hey, they're trying to get young men to join the Taliban, and you felt pressure to maybe that would have to happen?
They had like we call it mosques.
Mm-hmm.
Mosques, like the area that we can go for prayer.
Right.
Like here we have charges, people goes for prayer. We have mosques here too in Savannah. Like the same way we had in Afghanistan. There, every speaker who were out there, they were directly convinced the people how to believe in Taliban, why they are in power, what is their purpose of being on power. And they're directly asking people to join, to be the parts of this national group that they have. This is our group is multinational groups that we are just serving the country.
Yeah.
But it was not like that. And from that time, I still remember that I cannot convince myself that, okay, how a group convinced you to be the parts of that group that he didn't respect your sister's rights.
Mm-hmm.
He wants your sister to be uneducated. That was their main goal, that they keep the people ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
They keep the people quiet, silent.
Mm-hmm.
They keep the people get away from studies, because they know when people study, when people are reading, when people are searching, they're going to be smart enough. They will not follow them.
Information is power.
Yeah, information is power. That's their whole. Now I remember why they do it,
Yeah.
because there was the first thing, when you have more information, you have more mentality. When you have more mentality, you will not accept anything easily. You have to think about it before you're going to go through it.
Now, I'd love to kind of intersect your story with something that was obviously a massive deal that changed our country, which was 9/11 and the terrorist attack. And you were in Afghanistan when that happened, right?
Yeah.
Around what age?
I think I was like 20 something, because Taliban was over there almost for 7-8 years. I remember that they were in the
so you were
power.
a young man at that point, for sure.
Yeah. They were on the power.
And we've talked about this before, but just how that event changed your life and your people's life over there with that event happening to our country over here.
It's said like how should I say it? How should I share it with you, and your listeners? First of all, it was so sad for us that people lost their lives in 9/11 here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they says, if you kill one person, you're going to kill the whole humanity. It was sad for us that the people lost their lives in 9/11. But it was a bright side of life for us in Afghanistan, especially for Hazara community, for Hazara nation in Afghanistan, that United States came to Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest sunshine for us.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in Afghanistan, they kicked the Taliban out of the country. We got voice a little bit. We got rights. We start going back to school with the same uniform. Then we got our TV back to watch cartoons on it. Everything has changed. And the 9/11 has two parts. The first part, it was sad. I have my condolence for who's lost their lives here, for those family members. But for us, it was a bright side of the story.
Yeah, it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah,
it was horrible what happened here,
mm-hmm.
but then there's also the other side of it where myself and a lot of us don't think about,
mm-hmm.
and it's not wrong. It's just like 9/11 happened, and nobody wanted it to happen. Nobody ever wants to see it happen again, and there's no rejoicing at all that it ever happened. But it changed lives over here dramatically, but it also changed everyday life for innocent Afghanis in their country because of our response to that, and because over here we saw that it originated the plans for it from the Taliban and over there. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we came over, and then it drastically changed your life and your family's life for the better.
Yeah. Especially our people, like our Hazara peoples, we were always being thankful of that. The United States is in Afghanistan. They are here, and they are helping the country to get rebuilt. And that was my first goal. I joined as an interpreter to come with the United States Army, that tomorrow we're going to have a better future. Tomorrow we're going to have a bright future. Let's help each other and make this country great again, and at least survival, that the people can survive in it without having fear, without scared of their fundamental rights,
mm-hmm.
without scared of discrimination or anything like that. That was the first thing. We were so thankful of it. And most of, like in the whole time from 2000, which the United States came in Afghanistan till now, our people, like Hazara peoples, they love the United States to be there because they are supportive. They support education. They support women rights. We have a lots of Hazara women right now that they get educated. But I remember if the time Taliban was over there, my sister was not allowed to go to school. Instead of having a doctor's sister today, I may have a sister with 4 kids as a housewife. But that was a big change for us. That's why our people, like Hazara people, and by the time from 2000 till 2020, which we are living right now, there has never been a single shots fired against the United States Army or any other country's army in Afghanistan. We love them to be there. We don't want them to get out, honestly, because they're supportive.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit too, of kind of what that's like now. That relationship. So you're in your early 20s or 20. United States is over there. The Army's over there, and are you volunteering, or is this a job that you applied for to be an interpreter? How did that all work?
It was a job.
Okay.
It was a job. The company is called IMS, International Management Services. They were posting jobs out, like they were looking for interpreters, anybody who can speak English, Pashto, Dari, which we call it Farsi too. They were eligible to apply it. They have to go through CI screening, through those background check. After they pass, they were able to go and work with the United States Army over there. It was not only United States Army. We had Russian over there. We had Norway. We had different countries, like the NATO. The whole NATO force was in Afghanistan. There were so many interpreters, but like honestly, all those interpreters, which I am one of them, they joined as an interpreter to help the United States, to help the military over there. Because it's so hard when you go inside a new country or a new location, you can't speak their language. It's so hard to communicate with their people.
Now, where are you going to do this? Are you going to U.S. military bases where they're located? Are you going out on excursions with the Army and going riding with them? Or is it more like a centralized office kind of place?
There was a different position as interpreting. Most of the, like out of 90% of the time, you are out. You are with the combat, you are with the Ranger, you are with the 39 Infantry, you are with the...
So you're wearing all the stuff too.
Yeah, you had your body armor, you had your vests, like you had everything. You are like a soldier. You are a soldier, but you are a contractor soldier. You are not like an active duty.
Right.
Like in every...
They didn't give you a weapon.
No, they didn't trust you to give you a weapon. You don't have a weapon. Like back on that day, most of the interpreters in the beginning, they had AKs and stuff. But after some something happened, and they never allowed the interpreter to have a weapon. You are in the field. You are in the front line of the fight. Like take an example with 10 soldier, a captain or a lieutenant, and there is one interpreter when you are going to the mission, because you are the voice of those soldiers that you have to have communicate between the ANA, Afghan National Armies, ALP, Afghan Local Police.
Oh, geez.
And all
it's a lot of things to go through there. Did you see any violence, or have to like, hey, there's maybe a roadside bomb over there, there might be some Taliban shooting at us? Did you ever have any fear or see anything that would have been scary?
Yeah, it's a story. It's my personal story. That one morning I was sleeping in my tent. Then I got a call on the radio from my boss. Yes, from I think Phoenix, Arizona. His name was Josh Phillips. I think I should not mention his name, but I did it.
He's a good guy. It's
okay. He's a good guy. Then he called me on the radio that I need to respond to something which was placed out of the base. there was a donkey on the bridge, which Taliban planted bomb on it.
They put a bomb on a donkey?
Yeah, they put a bomb on the donkey.
Oh my goodness.
Then the army concern was whether they want to shoot the donkey or not.
Wow.
Because it's an animal. Then they were thinking, they had a big meeting with that. Okay, should we shoot that donkey or no? If we do not shoot the donkey, we cannot approach the donkey.
Wow.
Then they asked me that how much the donkey costs. I was like shocked, like, what does it mean? Like, why they're asking for that? Donkey's price. Then I said, maybe like $50, $100 or $200. Why you're asking that? And my lieutenant said that if they're going to shoot the donkey, the people going to came back and ask for the price. It was like a situation that I was shocked. Okay, I said, why they going to come back and ask for the donkey's price?
Yeah.
If they love their donkeys, why they have bomb on it right now on the bridge? Then he said, it's been happened to us like most of the time.
Oh, wow.
I said, I guarantee you that nobody going to ask you for that.
They're not knocking on the door of the military base asking for money.
Yeah. And they said, are you sure you're going to be responsible for this? I said, I'm going to be accountable and responsible for that. You can do whatever you want. After they shot the donkey, the squad team went out and defused the bombs. And the military crossed the bridge. Like after an hour, I have seen like 6-7 people on the army base door in ECP3, in entrance 3, that they are coming and asking for donkey's price. I was shocked. Like, okay, I went out and talked to them. Why you are asking for donkeys price? They said this donkey was belonged to us, but Taliban took it from us and put a bomb on it. Now you guys shot it. You guys have to pay for the price. Like, I was, wow. Are you serious? They said, yeah, we are serious. Then I called the Afghan National Army's commander and second commander. They came and they sent them home without giving them any price. Like, it was not the right thing to give them money back for giving the donkeys to the Taliban and put a bomb on us, and we should give them money back for what?
Yeah. I guess lesson learned there, huh?
Yeah. That was all.
So how long were you doing the interpreting for the U.S. Army in Afghanistan?
Almost 5 years.
Okay. And so talk about the transition of what you decided, what you want to do after that. Was it a certain amount of service time? Could you have stayed there longer and done it, or what did you want to do?
Yeah, the contract was like we have to work till the time the military want us as a contractor. They were in need of us. But back on 2012, the end of 2012, military start picking up, leaving Afghanistan. Like there was, I think, more than 20,000 of US soldiers in Afghanistan. They start picking up, coming home because they've been called to come home. They United States changed their policy that less military should be over there, remains over there. Then when they came out, and there was no safe place to us to stay there, because Taliban or other terrorist group which is in Afghanistan, they call us US spy. They call all the interpreter as a US spy.
So now US is out of your area where you live.
Yep.
And it's not hard for people to figure out that you worked for the US government.
They knows.
Yeah.
They knows.
Giving them information about whatever you knew about the Taliban, the area and everything. Now, and they're pulled out, and now that leaves you kind of exposed or fear of retaliation.
2 times they tried to capture me. Taliban 2 times.
Where?
They were trying to capture me.
Where are they trying to do that at?
One time I was in taxi, leaving the base, going to my home. When I came on the way, I changed my taxi. I took another taxi. The same taxi which I was in, they stopped that taxi in second checkpoint.
Did you know they were trying to do that?
Every interpreter knows that.
So you're just doing it as natural, like I'm taking a taxi, I'm switching, I'm making sure that they can't track me.
Because every interpreter, the first day you sign the contract, you never know. You're going to make it back home. You're going to get by Taliban on the way you are going home. You're going to get killed on the field while you are fighting, a sniper may catch you. You never know when you are going to be dying. It's a hard job that everybody is supposed to go through.
Yeah, and even though the Taliban is kind of broken up a little bit and don't have the same kind of power, they're still very much present in pockets and dangerous to you.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
The hard part is here. You never know who is Taliban, who is not a Taliban. They don't have a kind of black and white uniform.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a cowboy on it that we should know that cowboy guy is Taliban. You cannot recognize through these uniforms. They are civilian, but they are Taliban.
Wow.
They are like coronavirus. You never see them, but they're a threat for you always.
Wow. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's just you cannot like see them where they are. They have the same t-shirt like me.
Yeah.
They have traditional clothes beside you, but here's the parts of Taliban.
Man, that's tough. Trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You go paranoid.
Yeah.
So what's the second time that they tried to?
Second time they came to my house because I was living in a Helmand province. They came in my house, knocked on my brother's door, asking me if I'm home. I was not. I was in Kabul.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the time that there was no choice for me to be in Afghanistan, to be in the area that you cannot survive.
So that second time it happened, you decide,
no more.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that that's one thing to make that mental and emotional decision that I have to get out of here, but how does that actually play out? Like where do you go? Where can you get to safety?
The safety was like, if you can stay in Afghanistan, there is an U.S. General Consulate, like U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan. They have a program which is called SIV, Special Immigration Visa. You can apply through that program. And the State Department over here, they have a program called No One Left Behind. They're going to go through all your paperwork, such as your recommendation letter, your HR letter, like how long you've been with the U.S. Army. They're going to see all those things. If you're being in the watch list, blacklist, all those things, then they're going to issue you a visa. It's a long process. It's a slow process that takes like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years that you get through it. I was not safe to go through that program.
Mm-hmm.
There was no place for me to stay in Afghanistan. That's why I left Afghanistan. I came to Pakistan.
So, I mean, just up and go basically like as a refugee.
Yeah, I just came as a refugee to Pakistan.
With no family?
No family, just me and my wife.
Okay, so you were married at this point.
Yeah, I was married.
Okay.
Me and my wife. We get married in Pakistan. Like my wife living in Pakistan when I was in Afghanistan. My wife's family came in Pakistan too, before me.
Gotcha.
Before I came to Pakistan, my wife's family was in Pakistan.
So she's Afghani though?
Yeah, she's
Afghani, and they moved to Pakistan where they were safe.
They were safe, yes.
Okay, and now you're coming as well.
I'm coming as well to Pakistan. When I came, I went to UNHCR, which they called United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. I went over there and submit the application that I need to get out of here and out of Afghanistan too, because I was not able to work in Pakistan. I was not making a life over there because I was illegal in Pakistan, honestly. When you're a refugee, you don't have any documentation.
So do they have a camp like you're going to? Like
nothing.
Where do you go?
You just go to their offices. They have like an area is called UNHCR offices. You go to your UNHCR, they're going to see your paperwork. If you are qualified, then they're going to start working on your cases as a refugee. If not, it's on you. They don't care.
You can stay in the country or they send you back over the border?
No, you can stay in the country. The UNHCR is not dealing with sending you back.
Okay.
They are just processing your paperwork.
Okay.
But that's the Pakistani police. If they're going to catch you, they're going to send you back. But you need to leave illegally, like nobody can see you, or you should not have any interaction with the law enforcement. That's how it is. And we have a community. It's called Hazara community. They are in Pakistan. Hazara community, like back on the day, it's about the history, like back on the day when they migrate to Pakistan, when Abdurrahman Khan was the king in Afghanistan. It goes about back on the century, like 10th century back or 20th century back ago. Like, I don't remember the history about it. Most of them get kicked out of the Afghanistan. When Abdurrahman Khan was on the power, he killed 62% of Hazara community in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Most of those people migrate to Pakistan and start living over there. Now they are Pakistanis. They are the same face.
Mm-hmm.
They speak Hazaragi languages over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the same face like us, but they are Hazara of Pakistan. Like we have Hazara of Afghanistan,
Mm-hmm.
Hazara of Pakistan. And next 10 years, you're going to see me as a Hazara of America, because like when I get my citizenship,
Oh, wow.
probably I'm going to be American Hazara. Like it's just,
Like from 3 different countries. That's amazing.
yeah, like I start living on their communities and Hazara of Pakistan's communities. Then UNHCRC, they saw all my paperwork, which I had a recommendation letter from Army
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that I am safe for the United States. Then I had all those certificates, outstanding certificates from the 3rd Brigade platoon. They check all my paperwork and they start working in my case. They send all my paperwork to the US Embassy in Pakistan, and they start like processing the paperwork. And it took me almost 3 years, 2.5, almost to 3 years.
So you're in Pakistan for almost 3 years,
Yeah.
waiting to see
Mm-hmm.
where you're going to go or what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Whether I'm going to get selected or whether I'm going to get rejected.
Now, are you able to do any kind of work at this point, or how are you able to live? Are you just have money with you from what you made in Afghanistan? You're working?
I was working over there. I was teaching in a center, a computer educational center, which was called Global Computer Science Center. I was teaching basic computer stuff to the kids. Like,
Okay, well, that's good.
I was making a living off of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what happens when that moment actually comes and someone contacts you and says, hey, we're done with all of this, and you find out you're leaving or you're able to go? I mean, did they tell you straight up like, hey, you're going to be going to America?
The first thing, the process is like you have to have prove yourself as a refugee, that you are not telling lie to the UNHCR. When you prove yourself that you are really a refugee, you are really not safe in your country, you need to leave your country. After that, they're going to give you a refugee cards, which is a kind of like identification that you are a refugee. When you get that cards, on that time, the police of that country, the law enforcement of that country will not bother you because you are legally accepted as a refugee. And the second parts, they need to send your paperwork to those countries that they accept refugees. They send my paperwork to the United States because I work with the United States.
Right.
And the United States accept me. It was the moment, let me give you an example. Like if you go to a doctor and you are feeling sick, the doctor tell you, hey, Nick, you are not able to eat like Chick-fil-A almost for 2 months.
Chick-fil-A?
Like it's just an example.
Oh, you
like,
can't tell me that.
Like I'm saying, like if the doctor going to tell you that, hey, Nick, you are not able to eat Chick-fil-A for 2 months, after the day of the 2 months get finished, you are so excited to eat all those spicy chicken.
Man, you know me really well.
Yeah.
How do you know this?
Or anything like that. It was the same way for me. I was waiting for 3 years, but unknown whether I go back to Afghanistan or they're going to send me somewhere.
That's much better than spicy chicken.
Yes, man. It was awesome. And it was the awesome news. And it was the greatest news in my life.
And your wife was excited too?
Yes.
Did you have a kid at this point, or was it just the two of you?
No, just me and my wife.
Okay.
When I shared the story with my wife that we find a second home, we need to go to a second country, and I'm guarantee you nobody gonna kill me over there. Nobody gonna discriminate me over there. Nobody gonna ask me why I look like this. And she started crying, and she had tears on her eyes. At least you find out that I'm not going to be killed, some days. At least we're going to find out a way of living. Somewhere we're going to live, that we're going to have future.
Wow.
That was my greatest news, that UNHCR called me and said, hey, you get selected for the United States. And congratulations, you have your next interview with the United States Embassy in Islamabad, Pakistan.
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness, really? I never forget those. Those were the happiest news ever I got it. It's just, you are eating my spicy chicken, after a long time.
I really want the Chick-fil-A spicy chicken right now, just so I can feel a little bit more of what you're feeling. So eventually you and your wife get on a plane and come over to America, and you come here to Savannah?
Yeah.
So you came to Savannah, and you have whatever clothes, like a suitcase or two that you can take with you, and whatever money you can bring. And I mean, are you like, what, I know you're excited, but what kind of also nervousness or fears are going through you? We're like, what's going to happen when we go over there? Like, there's no guarantee of a job, is there, or where you're going to live? I mean, do you know these things before you come over? Or
not really know in the beginning. Because when you are living in a different country, you have different perspective again about other country. When I was in Afghanistan, watching those Hollywood movies, like TV shows, like Prison Break, all those things, like I was thinking that the United States is all the city of United States looks like New York. There is a lots of towers, large buildings, and we had a different perspective that when we go over there's a lots of trees. That at least we can get money from those trees, without like dollar is everywhere.
Yeah,
if you go,
money's
just
you
just
pick it up
around,
and
get it and spend it. And that was our perspective. But when we get to Islamabad, after we selected for coming to US, we had a cultural orientation class by UNHCR that they taught us that when you go to the United States, don't use taxi because it's so expensive. Like, use the bus services. And when you go over there, the life is different. You may not get easily job, never spend your money. But the good thing was when we got here, we had 2 months supports for our home rents by IOM, which is called International Management. I think IOM is called International OAS Organization, MS Management, something like that. They call it. They give you a loan for like your travel expenses and your living expenses for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, when we got here, we had our home was being rented by the IOM. It was a 1-bedroom. Then we don't have a rent for 2 months. And we came directly to Savannah. We never go anywhere else. We flew from Pakistan to Dubai to JFK, and JFK to Savannah.
Okay. And you've been to other places in America, or you've just stayed here in Savannah?
Oh no, I've been to a couple of states. I love it. Like,
okay, so you've traveled a little bit.
Yes. We got here in 2016, February 2016. We got here. I've been to Texas, Fort City of Texas last year. I've been to Texas, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Houston. We've been to, me and my wife together, like, and our kids, we've been to Nashville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, and I have a friend in Chattanooga too.
Okay, so you're going there for just travel for your family? Is it for
friends.
work at all? Or?
No, it's just it's a friends trip. Like, we have some friends that we get to know each other back on the day.
Yeah.
Then they moved. They were interpreter too. I have most of my friend interpreters, they are living in the United States now.
Interesting.
Because they got through the program, they got accepted.
Yeah, they had to get out.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering too. Is just
that's just,
it's not safe for.
It's still not safe. That program is so slow. We have most of the interpreters, their life is still in risk, but they are waiting for their.
So your life,
your
life in America. I'm really interested in. You had this perspective of what it was going to be like before you came. They tried to educate you a little bit on, not spending all your money and doing all these things, but just for yourself and your wife, that's still a really dramatic lifestyle difference. And even though like you wanted it so bad, there still can be some cultural shock or missing family, because you still have a lot of family that are back in Afghanistan or Pakistan or wherever they're staying right now. And how easy or hard was the transition for you to actually come over here, where you finally just accepted it, or felt like, hey, this is permanent, like we're going to be living here and I have to not completely worry about all the things over there and we have to invest in where we are right now?
It was hard. It was the hard parts of the transition. Like, family is like a tree. Your brother, sister, like all your connected families to you, they are like leaves. When you take one leaves out of the tree and throw it to a river or somewhere else, and he feels alone. It was the same way with me and my wife. When we got here, we were new to the culture. We were new to the city. And we were new to everything. It was like, even we don't know which kinds of food we should buy from Walmart.
Yeah.
And we were not sure like which kinds of vegetable we should get, because I was not able to know the name of all those vegetables over here. And everything we are buying in Afghanistan, they are like kg, kilograms. Over here, everything is in pound and all those different,
all the different measurements.
Calculation, yeah. And then it was so hard for us. Believe me or not, it was so hard in the beginning. But at the reality, we said this is our home.
Mm-hmm.
This is our home. And I started loving it. The more I get to know, the more I find out my way around, we start loving the city. Like Savannah is now our home.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to, I'm so happy that I'm here. And
I'm happy you're here too.
Yeah, thank you. It's lovely. I love it because nobody discriminate me here.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things you said earlier too. And I'm so happy to hear that, because I think one of the fears I have sometimes is that, you are going to run into people who are just like, hey, what are you doing here? Or saying something about either your ethnicity or your, the way you speak or something, or have a bad experience in the neighborhood you live in because people are wondering, where you're from, or they find out you're from Afghanistan and they just automatically assume, something that they just heard on the news about you. But for the most part, you said that kind of stuff hasn't happened. Like I felt welcomed and nobody's really, discriminated against you for the most part.
Yeah. It's the greatest thing that I experience here. The good thing overall about America is that nobody gonna judge you because your faces look different, your noses look different, like your way of talking looks different. Nobody cares about my accent, whether I have a Southern accent or whether I have a Hispanic accent, or it's a good thing. And when we got here, there was no discriminating against me. Like, I can work the same way as other American works here.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to the job, like all my coworkers, they works the same, they treat me the same way, and that's just, I love it. That's why I told my wife that that's the reality of America, that this is the land of opportunity, and this is the free country. It is free country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in front of you with my traditional clothes right now. I'm sure if I was in Afghanistan, in different parts of Afghanistan, the northern, they're going to see me with these clothes, they don't like it.
Yeah, they
may harm me. But here, nobody. You can wear your own clothes. You can have your own cultural. You can do whatever you want to do, but just do it in the right way. Don't do anything against the law.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple.
And with faith too, because religion obviously is important to you, and America, I guess, can be considered a Christian nation, especially living down south too. It's a lot more, church, and everybody, maybe Savannah's not exactly that way, but living in the south part of America, it's very much considered like Bible Belt, or everybody goes to church and Christianity. But you've said you haven't felt any kind of pressure. You're allowed to live out the faith that you believe and practice the Islam that you grew up practicing, and go to wherever you want to, and no second thoughts about it.
No, it's great here. We have Savannah Islamic Center. It's just on the Dutch Road over there by the south side of Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
When you pass the Islamic Center, there is a biggest church, Baptist church, in front of that mosque.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good thing about America. You go, if you want to go to church, you can go to church. If you want to go to mosque, you can go to mosque. Nobody going to stop you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lovely parts, and that's the greatest parts of it, that it's free country, free of speech, free of religion, free of anything you want to do. If it's a land of opportunity, if you take it deep, find your future, you can make it happen. But just do it the right way now. I have lots of friends. I have you right now. I have Heather. I have Brian. I have we have a big community here. The day when I got here, it was just me and my wife.
Mm-hmm. And how do you balance that out with communicating with your family back home? Do you still fear for their safety? Do you know that they're safe, or do you have concerns about what your family still has to go through, or what's that like for you right now? Especially, we can tie that in with, America announcing that you've been trying to pull troops kind of fully out of Afghanistan. And I know you've had a strong, just feeling and opinion about that and what that could do for your family and your people over there.
About my family, they are still living in unknown location.
Mm-hmm.
They are living in unknown location. I still support them from here. I'm working because of me, their life is screwed. I'm sure if I was not with the United States Army, my father would be still in the village and have their own farms, do his job, make a living off of it. But about the second concern, as you talked about the peace deal or the United States are getting out of Afghanistan, it's not only my fear, it's the whole Hazara nation spheres, whole Hazara ethnic spheres. Like, our nation is being targeted by the time of Taliban and right now as well. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, we had active shooters in Dashti Barchi Kabul hospital that they killed 13 baby and 12's mom in one day.
And that was a Taliban attack?
They says it's an ISIS, but we don't believe in ISIS because we never saw them in Afghanistan.
Okay.
It's just a name. Taliban didn't take any responsibilities for that. But we have government over there. That government discriminate our people because the way we looks, the way we believes.
Yeah. And there's a distinction I want to let people know about, is because, you explained to me that if Taliban or somebody doesn't take credit for an attack, even though everybody knows over there who did it, ISIS will just come in and say, well, if they're not going to take credit for it, we will, just to spread their propaganda, their fear. But like you were saying, for you, like, ISIS was never a part of Afghanistan, and they will get credit or blamed for doing something, but really it's the Taliban, and they're coming back into power and doing these things against your people.
We are not really sure that it's the Taliban or government, because there is a big confusion between Taliban and governments in Afghanistan, because our people, like Hazara community people over there, which they are in the Dashti Barchi Kabul, almost 2 million people are living over there on the west side of Kabul. Most of the time when Taliban wants to get a credit from government, they attacked our people because we are the defenseless people in the whole Amman country. When they want to get credit from government, they start killing our people first to put pressure on governments. When governments want to get a kind of knowledge or a kind of support from foreign countries such as USA or such as other country, and showing them that, wow, Taliban is killing the people, government attacked us too by the name of Taliban. We don't know really. We're not sure who is killing us. If Taliban says we didn't do it, government says we don't do it because we are government.
Yeah.
And ISIS is the one who take the responsibilities. Free credit.
Yeah.
But we don't believe in ISIS. Nobody believes in Afghanistan as an ISIS.
Yeah.
We don't have ISIS over there at all.
Either way, it's bad.
It's worse.
Things are picking up and things are happening. Your fear is that U.S. fully pulls out. It's just going to be an opportunity for Taliban and people that want to harm your people. Nobody's going to be able to stop them. And you also have mentioned too, just like if the U.S. just sends money to the government,
it's
going to go to things that aren't for your people, like their education, all the gains that they've made.
The supporting of the United States is the first part. United States people are supporting Afghanistan. The $0 or the $2 which get spent in Afghanistan is the United States people's money that they are supporting our government over there to build the government, that the government should be accountable for spending those money on education, women rights, human rights, fundamental rights. But what? At the end of the day, those money never goes to the people. Like, believe me or not, right now, we are suffering. People are suffering from hunger. They don't have enough food to eat. There is no security for you. If you get out of your home in the morning, you are not sure you are making back at home in the evening, whether you're going to give a hug to your son. No way. You never can assure that one. But what happened, we get discriminated by both sides party, like Taliban and governments. We don't know which parts we should trust it now.
Mm-hmm.
But our fear is from getting all the troops out of Afghanistan is that we have an assurance. We don't want to go back in the darkness. We don't want to go back to the prison, living in quarantine. It's the same way when Taliban came, you have to live in quarantine. The women should stay at home. They cannot get education.
Mm-hmm.
And the child's abuse is going to be more than enough by the time of Taliban. That's why everybody's concerned now. I am scared. I am scared of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm safe here. But what is the assurance if tomorrow Taliban came back to the power?
Yeah.
How you can assure them that they will not do the same thing which they did in the past? They are saying we are doing good this time, but how?
Yeah.
We cannot guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. It's sad, and I cannot even think about they are coming back in the power. I cannot think. It's better to have a corrupt government rather than not having a government at all.
Yeah.
We support this corrupt government rather than having a Taliban in power. It's the same way, like the government give you a choice whether you want to accept us or let the Taliban take it over. If the Taliban took it over, I'm sure we will not be safe here again. How you can assure that next time we don't have any tragedy here?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, to have it go back to where it was when you were young, and to see all that progress and to change and all those gains. And I think that's part of the thing that I appreciate you being on and being our guest, is to explain those things, because people hear Afghanistan and they think Taliban.
Mm-hmm.
They think 9/11, and they think of our country going in there. But there's not many people that just have actual Afghanis in their lives that get to hear firsthand kind of personal experience of what that was like during that whole process, and to realize that our country was able to do some really good things over there for the people. And it's not as simple as, well, hey, we can still give them money, or we did all these things for them, they should be able to take care of it by now on their own, and now let's just pull out, where that's affecting real lives and real people. And it's not that simple. It's like, if the people in charge who are getting that money are corrupt and are making the decisions to help the people we came to help ourselves, then it can be very messy, and that affects you quite greatly.
That's true. That's true, Nick. Like, we strongly support the United States to be in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Our Hazara community, our Hazara people, they love the United States to be in Afghanistan. We don't want them to get out of Afghanistan at all, because we need their help. We need their supports. I understand that it's hard for American families that their kids are away from their families, like the soldiers are away there on the bases. We appreciate their sacrifice. We did it together. We want this get ended together too, but we have needed assurance, especially in every country when you have a minority of people over there, that they or from different beliefs, different nations, the first thing effect is going directly to them, such as our people. Like we are really scared. We are really scared. Like what's going to look like in the end if the Taliban came back to the power, because this time they will not give us any chance of living at all. You cannot think of it if they didn't give a chance to Hazara babies, to Hazara moms, or to Hazara kids, a newborn which born an hour ago. They put AK-47 on his mouth and shot him on the head. It's how you can assure them that they are not in the power right now. They are killing the people like that when they came in the power. How you can think about it, how you can imagine it. It's just ridiculous. I cannot think about it at all. Sometime at night I see those bad dreams. I wake up, my wife shake me, hey, you are in Savannah, no worries, you are not in Afghanistan anymore.
Wow.
So the hard parts.
Yeah, and now you're here in America where your kids are. I always find that just interesting, that dynamic of you grew up in that type of environment, that type of world, and your kids are growing up not knowing any of it here, just in America, with all the rights and the freedoms and the privileges that you were sharing about, and yet they're still tied into that at some point. And how old's your oldest child right now?
He is right now 3.5.
3, so not very old, but at some point, he'll get old enough to be educated a little bit, whether he finds it out himself or wants to know about a family, and you'll be telling him about, this is what life was like for us over there, and it's just really fascinating to me that you're here and he won't have to experience those things.
Believe me or not, like the American kids, they are blessed. They are so blessed. You're born in the country. The first day you're born in the hospital, at least you know your date of birth. In Afghanistan, before this government, like 90% of Afghan people does not know their date of birth. What is their date of birth is?
Wow.
More than 85% of those kids never born in the hospital. They're just born at home. I born at home. My mom never been to the hospital for a liver. My dad just put my date of birth behind his book, his diary. I'm one of those kids. The kids that they are living here, they should be thankful of everything they have. They have a nice government. They go free to school. They have a school bus came and pick them up, drop them off. They have a childhood. It's the most important. They go to park, they play soccer, they watch their cartoons, they have their iPads. They have every possibility of being as a kids. I remember when I was 13 years old, I didn't have a ball to play with it. I made it my own ball, a soccer ball to play with it, and they are so blessed. I'm telling you that they are so blessed, and when we are so blessed, sometimes we get so spoiled. Put it this way, very spoiled. Like they are so lucky. Like you are lucky you born here. You are lucky you don't go through what I've been through. I wish nobody in the world should go through what we are going through right now, or which we've been through in the past. I wish for every single human in the world that they should not experience what we experienced.
Well, that's a really great way to kind of segue the end of the podcast on the question we always like to ask is, you have been through those things.
Yeah.
And, you're someone that came into my life because of a mutual friend, and I'm thankful for it. And I think there's other people that are like you that are always around us. We just don't know their stories yet.
Yeah.
But there's always people that have suffered, whether they came over from another country and they've went through something as extreme as you have, or they're just here and they've been, maybe they lost a parent or been abused or something, but you have been through something very, very unique. And there's others like you here in Savannah and other parts of the country. And, what can someone like me, or if I have a friend who's just like, well, what can I actually do to make an impact in Latif's life or his family's life especially when they're coming over here for the first time to America and they've experienced all that, or, they're not sure about all these things, like besides like just handing somebody a bunch of money, giving them a job, certain things but how can an average person help and just make an impact in someone's life like yours, in just even a small way?
It's the first nature of American is helping. That the American nature is to help your neighbor, to help your friend, to help your families, to help those who in needs. My conclusion is like, we should not judge the people what they have been through and how they make a impact in my life or anybody like me. Like, don't judge them how they looks like, how like they talks like, how their accent is like. Before everything, before every beliefs, before every other things, we are human. We should respect each other by humanity. And if anybody comes, a new person like me in the new city, try to help them. Try to accept them as parts of your community. Like the way I've been accepted here. I have lots of friends here that they make the life so easy for me. I have lots of good friends that they are teaching my wives how to get her citizenship. Teaching them about the United States Constitution. That I do thank them all, and I'm so thankful from them. It's the way that people think, and I love it. I love it how the people respect you, how the people pay attention on you, how the people helping you. That's the greatest thing in it. That's the greatest point of view about the American culture. That American cultures is helping. It doesn't matter where you came from, where you are belong to. If they saw that you need any help, they're going to stand up to help you. That's the good thing.
Good. It's really good advice, and happy to hear that you have been helped and you felt welcomed here. And
yes,
hopefully you continue will. And I imagine there's going to be some people that you're going to share this with in your home country as well, Hazara people possibly that might see this. And is there anything, you just want to say hello or, tell them anything at the end of our podcast here before we go out?
Yeah. I have to tell them that United States is not the way it looks like you guys are thinking about. It's not like there is no money on the streets that you have to pick it up. There is whatever you saw in the Bollywood movies, it's not like.
You still have to work hard.
Yeah, you have to work hard to come on that. Hollywood movies, and none of them are like those movies. It's real life. And the people are welcomed here. I love to say that if you want to come here, visit our great city of Savannah. We have a nice city, a historical city over here. Now I'm the parts of this city. I'm the parts of this community. It's my home. I love to be in my home.
Good. We're happy you're here, and
thank you.
Thankful for you and your family that's still over there too. And we're just really thankful for everything that you've been through. And I'm really encouraged that our country has made a big impact in your life, even when you were still in Afghanistan till the time you're over here now. And that's kind of what you hope for, is that?
Yeah, it was the greatest impact in our life. We are thankful of that. Believe me, we are thankful of those family who lost their sons in military in Afghanistan. We are thankful of those U.S. soldiers that they came in Afghanistan and make their chest as a bulletproof for us to save the humanity and save our country. We love them. We pray for them. We pray for their families. We are so thankful of that. But hopefully one day these wars get over and we should not have any more tears in everybody's eyes over there and here.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well, Latif, I appreciate you being here. It was a real honor to have you as a guest, and it's really nice to have you as a friend now, and really appreciative of that. And this man can make some really good tea. So
thank you guys. Yeah, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Quinn too.
Yeah, appreciate it very much. Yeah, I do want to thank Quinn for producing, like always, City Church for hosting, and Latif for being our guest. And we'll check you all next week on the Neglected Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.